It's like, if I watched nothing but Blender tutorials, I would be worse at Blender. I have handpicked a playlist of the most advanced tutorials I could find for 3D. I've watched 120 million videos about texturing, sculpting, modeling, and everything. Now here's my claim. This playlist is the most professional collection of 3D tutorials on YouTube, I think. To be clear, this is not for beginners. Finish your donut, then copy other people's work for about a year, then come back here. Stay with me here. Most videos in the playlist are not about Blender, but other programs. I know what you're thinking. There aren't other programs. There are, and most professionals use them. So we must learn from other programs. You will learn animation from Maya and sculpting from Zbrush. You will learn things that most Blenderers don't know, because you looked where they did not.
What have the Romans ever done for us?
Link to the playlist is in the description, and I know you're itching to see it, but hold on. There are 50 hours of videos in there. And to give you an overview, I'll share some of my favorite lessons and highlights. A place to start. Professional animators use Maya. That's where I went looking for animation advice. Mark Masters has a 1-hour video where he animates a dinosaur walk cycle. Very good. But I love the video on his personal character animation workflow. People find their own workflows, and this is his. He starts by animating the center of gravity to video reference. He places the feet where they should go. The rest is easy. A very nice technique to know. Under the video, there's even a comment that I love. He liked to do the whole scene straight ahead to figure out the movement first, then looked for the drawings that could be turned into key poses, perfect them, and drew the in-betweens again with a more controlled timing.
You're doing personal projects. Then you get hired at a studio, and guess what? You don't agree with the vision of the project or the notes you're getting. Tough stuff. You're going to need to do it and make that work.
That is from Animator's Journey. He shares lessons from his 10 years as an animator. Feels like a mentor sitting down with you to give you some advice. Animation Secrets is the series, and it has less than 1,000 views per video. Repugnant. We have some excellent animators in Blender as well. Among them, Alex on Story.
Here we go.
Whoa! He animates in Blender, and he has no bad video. Go and watch them all. Alex shows how to get absolute control over all your poses and movements. He assumes that you know the fundamentals and picks up the ball from there. Expect to learn what workflow to use for what situation, how to work with a creative director, what makes for a strong idea, and so much more. When I learned polygon modeling, it was in 3D Studio Max, and the guy who taught me was Arimus 3D. This guy is the king of hard surface shapes and topology. I'll refer you to his 1-year-old Max video, Insane Details Insanely Fast, where he shows a combination of subdivision modeling and retopology to get, well, insane details insanely fast.
Don't just go with a small amount like this unless you have some really simple details. Go with a higher amount because you want to capture the curvature. If I go in right now and I just add a lot of details here, so the problem now is because of how simple it is, if I do retopology now, it can't quite create complexity and smoothness if you have a very angular result.
He helped me learn when I should care about topology and when I shouldn't. It's helped me become much faster in my modeling work. You might be more interested in building realistic parts. For that, I will recommend tutorials on CAD modeling. There you will learn how to design real-life parts. Matabalam has an infinite series in SolidWorks about making tricky mechanical parts. This is a cool reference for mechanical modeling. And in the Blender camp, we have the king of hard surface, Josh Gambrell. This guy is the real deal. If you ever model and you don't subscribe, come on. The world of texture paint is split in two. Substance Painter paints for games, Foundry's, Mari's more for film. Regardless, the thinking and the techniques apply to Blender. Trigon textures this beautiful looking pilot's helmet in Substance Painter. This is step by step, in the trenches, texturing from start to finish. The result speaks for itself. Artruism textures fine details in Mari. She talks a lot about the thinking behind better quality. In this clip, she makes something I would be happy with, but she says no and makes it better.
And actually end up really not liking this one. The detail on this in general a little too big and really makes this look like a toy. This version is much better. So I swapped the base geometry and rebaked the maps, and this is the new version that I have.
My name's Laura Gallagher, and this is my channel on character art.
Outgang makes great videos, most about CG characters. This one stood out to me. Here an artist breaks down, layer by layer, the texturing of a creature. I love seeing the attention to detail in these high-end pieces. I'll give you a clip from that video.
Imagine a fire hydrant. You could do all the stuff that comes pre-packaged for you on a material, and you'll have scratches and you'll have a little bit of rust and all this stuff. But there's story elements that you can add to it that the software doesn't know about. If I have some splashes of dirt only at the bottom, that means it's an area that rains. A little bit of desaturation on the top of it, and the paint is like wearing out, and that's where the sun is coming out from. If you add some stains on the bottom of the fire hydrant and not at the top, the small dogs in the area, no big ones that are getting a little bit higher when they pee on the fire hydrant, that is really hard for Substance to know that stuff.
How good is that? Go and watch the rest. Professional sculptors use Zbrush. It makes sense. Zbrush has a wider toolset than Blender sculpting does. But what separates a great sculptor from a bad one is not the tools. Michelangelo made this one with a chisel. Here's what we should learn from Zbrush sculptors: how they manage form. To me, there is no one better than Polygon. The way he controls form is wonderful. I improve as I watch him work. How he moves, how he thinks. Watch his hour-long videos on how to sculpt specific body parts, or his recent talks on mindset.
We are but a collection of millions of failures that have shaped us, much like this artwork, into the people that we are today.
His best stuff is what he's famous for: full character time lapses, a sphere to start, a girl to end. All in his distinct, soft, sharp style. Narrated with lessons to tell you what's behind the shapes you see.
So much I see all these like little tips and tricks that feel like it's advice, but you like actually leave that video or you leave that tutorial and you're like, did I really learn anything from that?
Well, Mr. Polygon, I have just the playlist for you. If you want to learn more realistic sculpting, I recommend Flipped Normals. These two guys teach anatomy, levels of detail, sculpting technique, and much more. They have established their own marketplace where they sell very high quality courses, but this list is for free content, so I will recommend this video, where they sculpt a monster from start to finish. What did I learn watching it? How fast you can work once you have a set of assets. They use base meshes and alphas to get a head start and sculpt this fast. We have some very good sculptors in the Blender community too. This is Julian Kaspar. He sculpted many of the characters we love from the Blender Studio short films. Recently, he appeared at BlenderCon and made a monkey live. This is such a good talk, packed with tips. How to adapt drawings to 3D, making appealing shapes. To my surprise, he colors his model very early on. Colors affect how you perceive the shape. That's why many sculptors avoid colors. Kaspar says, because the final model will be colored, you should see it that way from the start. This talk is wonderful. If you sculpt, watch. Big ones done. animation, hard surface, texture painting, and sculpting. But there are more. Many, many more. We'll run through these very quick and then reveal the 3 best channels for 3D professionals. Okay, lightning round. Put 2 minutes on the clock, and for geometry nodes, watch Erin Dale on YouTube. To get ideas for geometry nodes tools, watch Houdini's Project Titan. For motion graphics, watch videos on After Effects. Every year, Ben Marriott compiles a list of the best motion graphics of that year. For simulation, don't use Blender, use Houdini. You'll find great videos about the VFX of destruction on Rebelway. For compositing, see Nuke, the industry standard. Quite different from the Blender compositor. For something a little more similar, check out Fusion. It's free. For color grading, see DaVinci Resolve. There is nothing better, and they have a free version, which I recommend. Eevee rendering. Can we learn Eevee outside Blender? Yes. It is quite like Unreal and Unity. They will teach you how to make real-time explosions, plants, and water. Procedural texturing is powerful in Blender, but can't compare to Substance Designer. I did Designer for years, and my materials are better for it. To learn procedural textures in Blender, there's a series on Blender Studio. It is better than you think, I promise. Terrain modeling. You learn that from Gaia, Terragen, or the classic World Machine. Learn how landscapes form. Grooming. Yeti is the industry standard, but it's hard to find free content. Check out the Grooming Fundamentals by Jesus Fernandez. Strong fundamentals, makeup experts. Garments come from Marvelous Designer. We can sew in Blender and it's fine. Marvelous is used in the fashion industry. Learn from real life for once. Grease pencil animation is like frame by frame in Photoshop, Procreate, and Adobe Animate. I like this one by Alex Grigg. Assembly, placing stuff around. What? That's its own thing? Yes. And Clarisse was the queen. Fascinating way to assemble scenes. Watch to learn to think a little different. You get the idea. Find the most specialized software for the task. Crowd simulations, Anima. Motion tracking, 3D equalizer. Voxel art? No idea. You'll find something. And just in time. It's almost like I edit these, and you know this, but it pays to dive deep into what you make. Animating a dance? Watch some dancing videos. Texturing a wall? See how bricklayers make them. You learn, and it shows. 3 channels stand out on YouTube. These all show extreme diversity and industry-level quality. First up, the official Blender channel, together with its sister channel Blender Studio. Here are 500 talks from Blender conferences going back to 2009. I haven't seen them all, but most seem very good. I will recommend Hjalti Hjalmarsson's talk on the illusion of animation from 2018.
The higher you go up, the more non-representational it is, which means that the brain has to work harder to understand what is going on there, which means it needs to use more of its imagination. So it's, a bit of a pros and cons.
And as for Blender, there's a Cinema 4D channel, Maxon. They host talks with the biggest names in C4D. I like this talk, breaking down a sweet motion graphics piece for Nike, and this one, called Motion Graphics Made Easy. This video made me want to jump right into simulation nodes and create the effects. Graphic designers use Cinema 4D. This channel is the holy grail of clean design. If you see the pattern, you'll know where I'm going next. Perhaps the single best channel for 3D professionals. The official Houdini channel. Houdini publishes both talks and walkthroughs. Anything from SIGGRAPH Hive seems to be worth watching. These guys are masters at CGI animation. Lots of abstract simulation stuff that's hard to recreate in Blender, but that won't stop us from trying. I mentioned Project Titan. It's a video game project that uses a lot of procedural tools. Some of the best things I found when looking around are not in the list. Things like websites, blogs, podcasts, even a book. These are pure gold. I wish I could put them in there, so links are down there. Chris Brehon was a rendering artist for Animal Logic, Weta, Illumination, Framestore, and Skydance. And he has written down his insights in an ebook that is free on his website. He could have charged $100 for this book. Go and read it before he realizes. The best parts are about lighting, which comprises 6 of the 11 chapters. Ever since I read this book 3 years ago, I have never used a sunlight. Chris uses spotlights instead. A sun, he says, bathes everything in an even light. We should be intentional. When you hand place every spot of sun, you get a more dynamic image. I made this image with gold box in Oslo, and I got away with murder. Do you see it? The sun shines from 3 directions, and it works. This I learned from Chris. Books take time to write and lay out, print and publish. By the time they hit the shelves, technology is miles ahead. I don't read books about computer graphics. I do read books about art, design and story, light and composition. My favorite is Framed Ink. I have read a lot about composition. Golden ratio, first, second, third read, negative space, always the same, never nothing new. Not the case with Framed Ink. This book goes deeper. How to cut between compositions, how to pan, what are weird shots? This is the best art book I have bought, and it will be yours too. I expect this list to grow, but I have only 2 eyes and they are tired. I need your help. So if you know anything that should be in the list, write a comment. This could get really, really good.